The Maestro.
That's it.
I know that.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
The Maestro.
The Maestro. Dirty.
Come on, y'all.
Really? I think that would be cool though. Why? The Maestro.
Shorts. Oh.
Let it go.
How about you hold it?
There's a lady in the waiting room. She got legs that run forever, and
Hello, and thank you for checking out the shows with
I
you.
have told her
Me.
you are busy.
And all right, yeah, I deserve what I got. The short about the history short, I know it was long, so I'm going to get back to a short. And I want to make this about the importance of being able to coach and teach the game. If you as a player start the idea of learning and developing the idea of what it takes to be a coach now, you will become a much better player much faster. Learn and work with your coaches, learn from other coaches, learn the process of what it takes to be not only a successful coach and what defines that. Is it just a winning team? Is it developing players? Is it both? Where is the balance point? All those different things. And become a student of the game as those coaches. I think I've said this before. A coach shows up with a 5-story library of basketball knowledge from when they played, when they learned the game, all the coaches that they watched film of, all the players they watched film of, all the schemes that won championships, all the schemes that lost championships, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the coach shows up and they have this 5-story library of basketball acumen to pull from. The basketball player, for the most part, particularly at this level, is showing up with a knapsack full of knowledge because they don't have the time on planet Earth that most of their coaches have had, but they've also didn't have a chance or have not had a chance yet to look at the game from that 20,000 foot model because they've been playing the game. And yes, they watch games on TV and they learn these various moves, but that's so shallow in the larger scheme of the things that it takes to be a successful player that kind of gets lost and also becomes very useless whenever you start talking about overall strategy. So as a player who wants to develop, and this sort of ties into one of the things that comes from Renzo Bryant's request about how do we become better scheme or system players, or how do we remain versatile and effective in various schemes. And we talked about those elements that would bring that on, or we thought would help that, and you guys brought up a lot more. Here's a case where starting to develop your acumen as a coach helps out. Don't just study film of what's happening now. Study film of what happened before. And don't always just follow the ball. Good film study looks at what's happening away from the ball to develop those strategies, those techniques, those systems. That's where you can really see where a coach's mind is at play if it's being executed correctly. When you can see the movement away from the ball, the players who do and their success versus the players who don't and their lack of success. When you become a coach, you become a true carrier of the game. And believe me when I tell you, there are certain players, though they might not have made great coaches per se, they were certainly amazing coaches on the floor. And you all know who are the guys I'm talking about. I'm not going to run that list down again. Hopefully this helps you a little bit. I'm going to end this one with a little story time since I didn't before, talking about being a coach. So one of my buddies who was a really outstanding player in high school and college and actually had a really solid professional career in football. His team, who had a big season, they get invited back and get featured at a game. And he asked me to be one of his guests along with his wife, who he had met in Australia, who knew nothing about American football. But, you know, she was a beautiful supermodel and whatever. And I don't blame him, but he didn't care that she didn't know football because, well, he just didn't care. He asked me when I come to the game, he says, I need you to sit by Britta so you can explain the game to her because you're really good at that. I'm sitting down in the section with the team, and I hear his boy say, "Oh, that's the guy you were talking about?" Now that's going to come back later. He said, "Yeah, that's him." I'm trying to explain the game as it goes along, the different things, talking about strategy, just doing the Maestro thing. And she's asking really good questions, but I didn't know she had a degree in psychology. After a player would make a catch for 5 yards, he'd get up and he'd slam the ball down and he'd scream and act like he was mad. And she says, "Why is he angry?" I said, "Well, even though it was a 6 yard catch, he felt like it should have been a 20 yard catch." She goes, "Okay, that doesn't make any sense." I says, "I know." Then another player would sack the quarterback, and even though his team was down by 12 points, he celebrated. He said, "Why is he celebrating?" I said, "Well, he made a good play." But he said, "His team is losing." I says, "Yeah, I know." She said, "That doesn't make any sense." I know. So finally she asked me, "Why do you think that they do that?" I just said, "Well, they're all crazy." She goes, "Huh." And then she looked at me and she says, "My husband says you like to get hit and like to hit people when you play, no matter what sport it was. Is that true?" And I said, "Well, yeah." After a minute, she said, "So that means you're crazy too?" The entire section busted out laughing. And then I realized when he was telling his boys, "Oh, that's the guy you were talking about," those are stories he was telling about me. Yeah, I guess Maestro's crazy.
Oh, wait, you want me to read?
Thank you for listening to the Maestro.
Thank you again for checking out the Maestro's Dirty.
Selects.
Drop a tag below and give us a piece of your mind. See you next time and
Is it last call? Have you seen my glasses?
The Maestro. Dirty.
Selects.